The game is different now. Oakland is older, mature, well-coached, disciplined players. They're 23, 24 years old. He's playing with 18-year-olds. It shows in these type of environments. You can see they're playing against grown men. The guys on Kentucky will be far better pros than any of these guys on Oakland or any of these guys in the tournament. But they're not as good college basketball players. It's not Cal's fault. It's they're 18 years old, and they're in this era where everyone's telling them how great they are. Just show up in college and you're going to win. It doesn't happen that way. And the more the guys stay in college because of NIL, it's going to be tougher for young teams like this to be successful.
Our Bob Ferrando Ford World Athlete of the Week was recognized by his respective conference earlier this week. He followed it up with another noteworthy performance on Wednesday night in local college basketball. Edinboro Junior Guard and Quinnipiac transfer Bernie Blunt was named PSAC West Co-Athlete of the Week earlier this week.
I guess I just always put in the work in, before practice, after practice, I'm always getting shots with the coaches or always on the gun, and the coaches just always told me, just Bernie, keep shooting, it's going to fall.
He's just a worker. He's a worker. If you've seen the amount of hours it puts in, the calluses on my hands from all the rebounds I've had for him, but he's an easy guy to rebound for because he makes a lot of shots.
Blunt dropped in a game-high 26 points, including a key three-pointer, put his team up 4 in the final 2 minutes of what turned out to be a 75-69 road win up on the hill.
He's a dog. He puts in so much work. He's in the gym every single day. He eats, sleeps, and wakes up, does basketball. That's all he does. He makes us go. Bernie's the guy.
Congrats to Edinboro men's basketball's Bernie Blunt, our Bob Ferrando Ford World Athlete of the Week.
At Petty, did you feel as though you were a Division I player?
My mindset at that time was I definitely thought I was a Division I player because when I went into Petty, I was around a lot of good players that went on to play at the Division I levels.
Bernie Blunt making it 62-46 as 3:35 remains. Supreme Cook, is he actually a chef? Maybe. He was serving up buckets though. 88-79 would be your final. Petty getting their first win of the season, going to 1-1. Falcons getting a boost from Bernie Blunt and Columbia commit Supreme Cook. Blunt dropping 47 points while Cook had 21.
So, when you're playing with those caliber type of kids, you play at their level, if not higher. And also the competition we played probably was some of the best in the country. We played the likes of the Patrick School, IMG, the Hun School, Blair, St. Benedict's, which almost every team had about 3 or 4 Division I recruits on it. So definitely, I think, of my 2 years at Petty, I was a Division I player.
What mindset did your dad instill in you that you were able to impact into your own game? Because your dad was one of the top scorers in New York.
Yeah.
I think he's number 3 all time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the top players to ever come out of St. Joe's University.
Yeah.
What did he instill in you that makes you such a good scorer and such a good player?
I definitely think his confidence and his killer mindset, he definitely instilled that in me early. Ever since I was working out when I was 12 or 13, he always told me to attack every drill, workout, or practice like it's my last game or last practice, last workout. And also just to go out and kill the person that's in front of you, because at the end of the day, you have to do what it takes to win. And and yes, I can be friends with these guys off the court, but in between the lines, I'm all about business, and I'm gonna kill what's ever in front of me to make sure my team wins.
Now, your dad has to promote you.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of high school, what was your recruiting like? I know you were somewhat impacted by COVID.
Yeah.
That was kind of the first year everybody's doing the transfer thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know on our side, we weren't really dealing with you much yet, but I know you probably would have been happy with the Division II.
Yeah.
You decided to go to prep school, take another bet on yourself. What went into that mindset? Was it just, okay, it's another year to prove myself? COVID impacted things too much at that time?
Yeah.
What allowed you mentally to bet on yourself and take a post-grad year?
So after my high school season ended, that's when COVID hit. And luckily, we got to play our full season, and our state playoffs weren't long. So when COVID hit, that was when a lot of schools seasons got canceled, and a lot of kids went in the portal. And I would have been happy with a Division II or lower Division I look. But when I met you guys, and you guys talked to me about what you guys can help me with, what you guys can provide me with, I felt like taking a prep school or a prep year would benefit me more instead of going to a Division II or Division I school at that time.
I almost feel as though you're you're the ideal prep candidate because you're a hard worker.
Yeah.
You're a coach's son. You have a good resume coming out of high school. And then on top of it, you have that I have to kill the person in front of me mindset.
Yeah.
In prep school, I feel like that's just a recipe of like, okay, whatever level you're at, you're going to go up one more level. What was prep school like mentally, and did becoming a Division I player and achieving your goal, when did it feel obtainable throughout the season? Like at what moment were you like, okay, I see where I was, I know what I have to do.
Yeah.
And what was that jump? Like, what's the difference between high school and prep school that made you jump to say, okay, this is what I really have to do?
Yeah. So I would say definitely the jump between high school and prep school is a lot of these kids are like older.
Number one, the one who was shooting.
You already, because he dropped 38 on you, John.
He dropped a lot of points on us.
He dropped a lot of points.
That kid can shoot. Rocktop came in here. They fought really hard. They're athletic. Sam has them playing out of their minds. You know, I'm glad we don't have to play him again. I'll put it that way.
So Bernie Blunt has a standing offer to come play basketball?
He does.
How much money you got paid, John?
$0.00.
So a lot of teams we played, like they were like already had like a Division I, Division II ready body. And a lot of these teams we played also had great coaches that like scout and like know what they were doing. So I definitely think that was a big difference. Now, I think personally for me, my jump was probably the IMG game where they had about 7 or 8 Division I kids on that team and I scored 50 points. So I think that's just me doing that with that against that type of caliber players, which we have like, okay, like now I see that I can play at Division level. And also the schools that came just from that one game really made it like attainable and achievable for me to play at the Division level.
Now you finish the prep season, you go through that anxious period that a lot of high school kids go through between, am I going to get a scholarship with everybody in the portal? Maybe you're just learning about the portal. Maybe you're just seeing what it is. Between the conclusion of the season and you deciding which school you're going to go to, how are you feeling? And what was the things that you did every day? And what was the process of you getting to school?
Yeah, so I definitely was anxious after Rocktop ended because I knew of the portal, but I didn't know how severe and how many kids went into the portal. Because when I looked, there was about like 1,200, 1,300 kids, and there was like 700 kids just from Division I. So I was a lot more anxious, but you know, my parents were like, Bernie, you'll be fine. Just, you know, like put your head down, grind, work, and the schools will come to you. So, you know, like that's what I did. I worked out probably 2 or 3 times a day just to make sure I was like in tip-top shape. My shot was right, my handle was right, you know. Like a lot of my workouts were shooting baseball, so making a lot of different reads off pick and roll. And you know, just like making sure my game will easily translate to the college level. I would like to thank all the coaches that have been recruiting me. I would like to give special thanks to my family for always pushing me on and off the basketball court. I would like to thank Rocktop Academy, Coach Wes and Coach Sam for furthering my development into a basketball player and becoming more familiar on and off the court. I thank Coach Chris over at LB Strength for helping me get stronger and faster and ready for the college level. And with that being said, I'm 110% committed to Quinnipiac University. Go Bobcats! Yeah, so my first call with Quinnipiac came probably about a month after Rocktop ended. And you know, the call was good. Like it was just asking how my season was. They were watching me since IMG. They really liked my game. They wanted me to go on a visit, but you know, COVID, it wasn't possible. So I set up a Zoom call. We go on a virtual visit, and you know, I felt like at the time I was like, okay, you know, like this school is very promising. You know, I like the coaches. You know, the opportunity was there and the fit was there, and I thought that was what's important to me. So yeah, like it was like that call was good, and I felt like kind of relieved because okay, a school is showing interest. You know, I just gotta hope they offer.
They offered, you get up there, the first couple workouts, like how was it? how did you feel like your role on the team would be? Like, were you comfortable right away? Did you feel like, okay, this is another jump from even prep school? Did you think that I was well prepared and going to get on the floor?
Yeah.
Like, what was your early read before the season starts? What was your early read on how you would do and your expectation going into the season?
Yeah. So about a couple days before I talked to the head coach at the time, he said, the opportunity is there. If you come in and work, and, play good, play decent, you will have a chance to play if not start. And I had just had that same killer mindset, okay, I'm going to go in and kill the people in front of me. Now, when I first get up there, it was kind of a learning curve, not because I wasn't well prepared, but it's a different system and a different pace. And also it was established, like a lot of the kids have been there for about 4 or 5 years, and the coach that was already established. So it was a well-oiled machine, kind of putting a new person into that was a transition. But once I kind of got the ground running in July, I kind of saw my pace and trajectory go up, and at the time I could have saw myself playing in the early games of the season.
How many guys did they bring in at that time? Was it 4 or 5?
They brought 3.
3 guys.
Yeah.
They brought in another JUCO guard. And he was good.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it should have been more of a competition at that time? Not to knock his game, but I know in your mindset you feel as though you're better than the guys in front of you.
Yeah.
You are that confident where you're like, okay, I'm better than you. You are willing to show that you're better than them. But I feel as though even us watching the games, and based on what you were telling us, obviously we weren't there. But you feel as though you should have got more of an honest shot.
Yeah.
Playing, especially early in the season.
Yeah.
Prior to your injury. What was your mindset? Were you like, okay, I have to wait my turn, or freshmen don't play?
Yeah.
Or did you think you could help the team if you're on the floor? Like, what were you thinking?
So I was thinking I was going to play because in our first 2 scrimmages, in the first scrimmage against Fordham, I played a decent. I played a decent a lot, and I was playing with that other JUCO guard, and we were playing off each other. So, and I was like, okay, I can see myself playing. It's gonna be a good season. And then the second scrimmage rolls around, I play, but it's not the same amount of minutes I played the first time. And I was like, okay, maybe he just want to try out some different things. And as we were getting closer to the season, I see myself easing out of the rotation a little bit. And I was like, okay, maybe he is kind of just want to go with the guys that have been there, they're more established, more older, I guess. But I definitely think I could have helped earlier in the season, just by off of my skill set and my leadership. But unfortunately, I just didn't get that opportunity.
Now, you do get injured. How did your injury come about? What was it? When did it happen?
Yeah, so it came about the middle of January. We were playing Ryder, and in the morning of our game day shooting out of practice, our big stepped on 3 or 4 of my toes, and I couldn't put any weight on my foot. So I sat out the Ryder game, and the next day I went to the doctors, and they said I sprained 3 of my toes. And with this specific injury, it was more so they were on a fine line between sprained and broken. So if I would have put any more pressure on my foot, I could have potentially broken my toes and had to get surgery on all 3 of my toes.
So when did you know, okay, because you did play one game, you started one game.
Yeah.
You played Maine. You guys won by, I think, the most in program history against Maine or something like that.
Yeah.
Ross, you are exactly right. Blunt did most of his business from beyond the arc. 4 of his 5 makes were from the three-point line, led to a 14-point performance, and already higher than a 6-point per game average. Shows how much you can do with more time in the court in his first start. Wait, where's Bernie, guys? Where's Bernie? Where's Bernie? There's Bernie, wide open in the corner. Maine lost track of him. You can see his defender trying to get over there. We got to slow it down because he zipped over there as quick as he could, but just not in time. Bernie Blunt once again.
You had 14 points. You had a couple assists, maybe 5 or 6 assists during that game. And then after that, you didn't play.
Yeah.
Why didn't you play? And was that the moment you decided, okay, I'm going to shut it down for this season?
Yeah.
I'd rather just get the medical red shirt year back. I know you're applying for that now.
Yeah.
What happened after that game where you decided to shut things down?
Yeah, so basically after Maine, you know, we were kind of like on a high. We were on a 4-game winning streak. We were playing Penn State, a Big Ten team. You know, it was gonna be a good game. It was at their place, and I was on pace to start. You know, and I was very excited. You know, I was like happy to play against a good team to showcase my skills against like that caliber of talent. But unfortunately, they got COVID, and they had to shut down like 4 or 5 of their games, and that kind of led to our spring or winter break. So we went home for a couple of days, and then we came back. We got prepared for Niagara, and I didn't play. And I was like, okay, maybe, you know, he just wanted to stick to lineups that he had before I was playing. But then I saw myself 5, 6 games I didn't play. So I was like, okay, this is kind of like odd. And then that was that Rider game where I got hurt. So I think after not playing 5 or 6 games and getting injured, I was like, okay, maybe it's time that I should like look to get a redshirt year, you know, like just to save myself, like just from any more like injury prevention, and just to make sure I can save my year.
I know you were battling the injury even throughout that spring and summer, and it was tough because you didn't have enough of a resume to really transfer. You entered the transfer portal. Were you expecting to get picked up? Did you know you might have to go to a level lower?
Yeah.
You ended up going JUCO, but like at that time, did you feel as though you were going to have to go a level lower?
At the time, like I was hopeful to get picked up by a school, but then again, I was being realistic because I didn't play in a lot of games, and I didn't have a lot of highlights or film. So JUCO or Division II, like was also an option, but I was hopeful that hopefully I can get picked up by a school. But I was also being realistic at the time as well.
Okay. You decided to go to Harcum, closer to home. You can get back on your workout regimen a little bit with your father.
Yeah.
I know he went up there a bunch to see you play. What's the difference between prep school, high school, Division I, and JUCO? Like, what separates the JUCO from those other levels, stylistic-wise?
I would say style-wise, JUCO is a lot of up and down. You know, it's very fast-paced, and Division I, yes, of course it is fast-paced. Yes, prep school is fast-paced, but it's more kind of like controlled fast-paced, where as in JUCO, you just want to get down and score right away, or just trap, you know, steal, like get a steal, score right away. So I think that was kind of the main difference from JUCO as terms of like Division I, prep school, and high school.
Is that your style?
Yes, that is my style, but more of like, you know, a controlled pace where it's like, yes, like, you know, like you do want to push fast pace, but if there's nothing open, like you don't want to go all the way to the basket and just throw up something crazy. You know, you want to, you know, play off 2 feet, you know, find cutters, find the open shooters, but JUCO isn't really like that, so.
So you didn't run too much half court?
Not really, unless like the other team scores.
Was it the coaching or was it the players? Like, why didn't you guys run more?
I feel like it was half and half. You know, the coach at the time, like he did like want to play at a fast pace, but he wanted to do so more controlled. But the players, I think, didn't really understand the system quite well. And also, we had a lot of like athleticism on our team, so they thought, okay, like once we get the ball, just push it as fast as we can and score, instead of like, you know, like getting like set up and like taking our time.
No, you guys won. You didn't go to the tournament, though.
Yeah, we didn't.
Like, did you feel as though that's why when you came back out of JUCO, you were somewhat overlooked again? Did you feel as though you had good enough numbers coming out of JUCO to go Division I?
I definitely think I did. You know, I had a couple like 25, 30-point games and like 140-point games, so I definitely think my stats showed it. But how JUCO is if you don't go to like, you know, if you don't go to Hutch, you know, like that's like the coach's help. Like every coach probably in America is going to be at Hutch, and the fact that my team didn't go is probably like one reason why I was overlooked, just because I wasn't really put in front of a lot of coaches' faces.
So in JUCO, you have to go to Hutch.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Coming out of JUCO, you're in the same process again for the third year in a row now?
Yeah.
Coming out of high school, You feel that anxiety. Which school am I going to?
Yeah.
Coming out of prep school, which school am I going to? Clinic PAC, what school I'm going to go to? You come out of JUCO.
Yeah.
What school am I going to go to? Now all of a sudden you're at Edinboro, Division II. I know other Division II schools wanted you. How did you end up at Edinboro 1? And did you feel as like, was it the same mental process going through that again?
Yeah, so definitely going like through the process, like the transfer portal and the recruiting process. You know, I definitely had a more clear vision of what I wanted in a school and a program because I've been through it, and also like, you know, just like wanted to build a good enough relationship with like the coaches that were recruiting me. And when Edinboro came along around, I think it was May or June, you know, like I built a good enough relationship with the coach to the point where it's like, okay, like this is probably like one of the best relationships I have like with a coach as far as like with like the other coaches that were recruiting me at the time. And also like fit an opportunity, you know. He was going into a school where he was recruiting a whole new team.
Fast, up-tempo, excited. We're going to have an offense that plays with pace and space. But I think more importantly, you're going to see a team, a group of guys that play with an edge, that are excited to play every day, attack each game with energy and enthusiasm, and kind of do all those things that are going to make Macomb Fieldhouse rock.
And he, you know, wanted me to go in, have that same killer mentality and produce at a high level, and also just be a leader for those guys that hadn't really had that much experience playing college basketball.
Now, if you don't know Edinboro, and to be honest, I don't know Edinboro like that. How many scholarships, full scholarships do they have? How many partial scholarships do they have?
It's 9 partial and 2 full.
9 partial, 2 full. How does that rank among the other members of like the PZAC Division II?
I think it's fairly the same with a lot of PZAC teams. They do have more funding as far as like Edinboro or the other Penn West schools, so it's fairly the same. But then again, I think where like the main like, you know, thing is like, you know, like the facilities and like where the school is located is, I think, is a big factor in the PSEC of like where you want to pick and go.
Okay, so they're not the best in facilities and everything else, but they do have the same.
Yeah.
Okay. You're at Edinboro, and now you're at a new level. So you did prep school, you did high school, you did prep school, you did Division I, you did JUCO. What's Division II like?
Yeah.
Compared to like those levels, like how's the play style of the PZAC? How's the play style at Edinboro? How's the play style of these other teams that you face Division II compared to the Division I teams, compared to the JUCO teams, compared to the prep school teams?
Yeah, so I would definitely say the main thing that I saw in like all those levels is fast pace. You know, like yes, like it is college basketball, but Division II, it was kind of like a fast pace where it is kind of controlled, where it's like JUCO, where it's like it's fast paced, but it's not controlled. And also, in my league specifically, it's very guard heavy. So there was a lot of teams where they had, you know, like two or 3 guards transfer in from a Division I school. So it's not like I wasn't playing Division I caliber kids. So that was always good. But I think just the main thing was just like the talent and also just like how fast paced it was.
Do you think some of those teams you played Division II were just as good as some of the Division I schools you played?
Yeah, definitely. You know, some of the teams who play like Gannon, IUP, Cal, they can easily beat some of these like lower or mid Division I teams.
Ready for takeoff, it's Air Canada. Josh Omojaffo with the Monster Slam. 21-12 Golden Knights. Later, Bernie Blunt hits on the pull-up J. He had 20 for the Borough. Then Omojaffo coming through traffic. The and one. Pardon me. Yeah, no, that's an and one. And then he's going to spin this time and finish with the left. Omojaffo in his zone. Number 4, Gannon men beat Edinboro at home. 124-82.
And, you know, like that's also because they also have good if not better talent. And also like coaching, you know, like it's like that's half the battle, you know, like you have to have a good coach, but also you have to have good players. And when you mix those two things together, like a beautiful thing happens. So I definitely think a lot of teams in our league could compete at a Division I level for sure.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In prep school, you were the guy. Probably even more of a shared role.
Yeah.
The guy than Edinboro. Edinboro, you are the guy.
Yeah.
going into the season, going into that Gannon game, going into some of these other games, how was it being the guy, because you drew a lot of attention?
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how much attention that you really drew from other teams. How was that? How did they play you? What was your mindset to overcome that kind of stuff? And just tell me about like that experience.
Yeah, so at the start of the season, I since being the guy, there comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of leadership, and I had to lead guys, and not just for myself and to score the ball. I also had to make sure I was facilitating, make sure we were in the right position on defense, and to make sure after every loose ball, picking that guy up, always just cheering my team on. But during this season, team scout, and when they saw, I'm averaging about 21-6, they want to stop the engine because everything else kind of slows down. So I think a lot of teams were boxing one, a lot of triangle and two, double team off of ball screens, and deny me full court, which was honestly a compliment, just because, we have some of these top D2 teams in the country, just trying to face guard me to make sure I don't get off. But that just made me just want to be better at not just scoring the ball, but also making sure I put people in the right position to do good and for them to score the ball, or to get an easy layup, or to get a steal. I just wanted to make sure I put my best foot forward, and just because I'm not scoring doesn't mean I can't impact the game in many ways.
You had a great coaching staff at Edinboro. What were they telling you during that time? How were they able to help you during that time?
Yeah.
I mean, how was it? Because you're leading a new team.
Yeah.
Where you're the guy and you're taking on that responsibility.
Yeah.
How were they able to help you overcome that situation and become such a dominant player over the course of the entire year?
Definitely the coaching staff there was very good, and kind of I leaned on them a lot, and I asked a lot of questions hey, what can I do better for our team, not just only win, but just to lead guys, because the season's a grind. We play 33 games. So I just wanted to make sure I was seeing eye to eye with the coaches. After every practice, every game, I will break down film with them, to see what I can do better and what I can help my teammates do better. So just having that support day in and day out really helped me become not a better player, but also just a better leader on the court and off the court.
I think Edinboro was your best that I've seen you play. I felt like you were a much better point guard. You controlled the ball. You controlled the game a lot more. I know a lot of people think you were gunning. You weren't gunning.
Yeah.
You got fouled a lot. I think you even got fouled more than they probably even gave you the calls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the numbers were just incredible. I think you shot 91, 92% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
You averaged how many points?
20, 21 points per game.
What was that, 2, 3 in the PZAC?
Yeah, I was ranked second in the PSAC at the end of the regular season.
You guys missed playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And I think you got named,
It was second team all PSAC, yeah.
Only because
we didn't make the playoffs.
You didn't make the playoffs, and they only take playoff teams in the top 5.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were the best guard in the PZAC? Do you think you got that kind of attention like you were the best guard in the PZAC?
Yeah, definitely going through the PSAC. The PSAC is a gauntlet, especially when you play the East teams and West teams, to kind of get the best of both worlds. So when I'm getting double teamed, if not triple teamed, to getting boxed and one and denied, and double teamed off ball screens, you're gonna think that hey, you're not doing this to any other guards in our league. So yeah, I definitely think I was the best guard in the PSAC, and also the numbers showed it. So I just think just making sure I just stayed the course and just stayed heavy to my work, I think it definitely showed.
Now you're in a new situation again. Another year.
Yeah.
Of looking for another school. You entered your name in the transfer portal. And I feel like you're kind of hitting your peak in terms of you were a combo guard, and now you're hitting your maturity in terms of now I'm a point guard that can shoot and everything else.
Yeah.
You're going to have a different role when you get back to the Division I level.
Yeah.
Do you have what do you think you would be able to provide for a Division I team do you understand that your role would change?
Yeah.
Just what are your expectations without picking a specific school going into next year?
Yeah. So definitely now, since like I've been through many different, like situations with like schools and like playing at many different levels, I definitely think I have a certain maturity that a lot of these players don't have, and also leadership. Like I've been like in college for about 3 years now. I played at many different levels, so definitely my leadership I will provide like at the Division I level, and also like besides my scoring, just making sure like I put people in the right position to do good. Like yes, like I do score a lot, and I'm like is one of my main assets. But also I think facilitating and getting down on defense is also something I can provide as well.
Now, your decision to leave Edinboro to go Division I.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it just you're because I know you're not a person that you're not a settler. You know what I mean? So you really feel as though you're the best and you want to prove that you're the best. Is that what fueled your decision to leave Edinboro? Or to pursue going back Division I?
Yeah, so definitely like when the season ended, I did a lot of soul searching and talked to many different people, like my parents and my mentors and the coach here at Rocktop. And I definitely made a pros and cons list, and I just don't want to settle. Like I feel like, with my skill set and my mindset, I feel like I can go back to the Division I level. And also like, just to prove that I can play at that level again, because I mean, hey, like that is everybody's dream to play at the Division I level. But I just think I hit a certain peak in my skill set and in basketball where I think I can provide so much to a D1 school as far as any other people can.
It's early. You announced that you were transferring 3-4 days ago.
Yeah.
What kind of schools are hitting you up? What kind of schools are you talking to personally?
Yeah.
You're watching some of these guys in the tournament. The kid at Oakland yesterday.
Yeah, like 30.
He's in a very similar situation
Yeah.
to you, where he hit 8 threes, but he came from a Division II school.
Yeah.
He was an older player that transferred, and Jay Wright just said yesterday the era of freshmen leading teams is over because now you're competing against 23, 24-year-olds. One, you're an older player. How old are you?
I'm 22.
22.
Yeah.
You're a 22-year-old player. You definitely have 1 year left. You get the medical redshirt year from your Quinnipiac year. Now you have 2 years left.
Yeah.
What kind of schools are you talking to? What kind of levels would you like to go to? What do you want in a school? What kind of stylistic stylistic wise do you want to go to school? Do you want to go somewhere that's winning? Do you want to go somewhere that's on the come up? Does that depend on you getting 1 year, 2 years? Take me through what you look forward to and what you expect entering the portal for probably and hopefully the last time.
Yeah. So I've heard from a lot of different schools from many different levels, and it was definitely crazy the first 2 days. Not gonna lie, like just getting a lot of different calls and texts, and just building these relationships with coaches. Because like I said before, I've been in the portal like so many times, so I kind of know like what to look for in a certain school and coaches, and it definitely is a blessing because like I said, like now the portal is even more crazier than when I first went in, all the way back in like my prep school. So it definitely is a lot more crazy, and it's definitely a blessing, but. Definitely what I look for is how am I going to help a team win, because I think I'm the type of player to where I can help a team like kind of turn things around in a program and to make sure like you are at the top half or half like in the middle of your conference. But style wise, I think I am a fast paced player, but definitely I think with my skill set in the many different situations I've been in, where I can play in any type of play style, but I do want to have like kind of like a faster paced play style for sure.
Do you have specific? You don't have to tell me. Do you have specific leagues in mind where you're like, okay, I see myself.
Yeah. So I definitely think like the Patriot League, the CAA, A10, and Conference USA are leagues that I think I can provide like and do like the most damage in. But I'm not saying I can't provide in other leagues, but I think that those leagues are kind of like, I can fit in my my game and my skills will translate right away.
Based on what you're saying. Now, I'm saying the reality of it is you'll probably even get a couple schools higher than that just because of how the tournament's going, people expect. Are you trying to go to the highest school to prove yourself again, or are you trying to go to the best situation because of the amount of years left? Are you trying to go to the best situation academically? I know some super high academic schools are recruiting you.
Yeah.
Ivy League and so forth. First of all, you have like what, 3.8 GPA?
Yeah, 3.7, 3.8, yeah.
3.7, 3.8 GPA. What kind of, like, are you going to pick the best situation? Are you going to go to the highest level?
Yeah.
You want to get that academics? Is that going to depend on 1 year or 2 years, depending on what you get back?
Yeah.
How are you going to play that?
So as right now, it's definitely if I get my year back. So if I do get my year back, I will have 2 years, and that will be kind of easier for me to kind of weed out like what I want. In terms of if I do get 2 years back, I do want to go to the best situation with a combination of kind of like a higher level school, just off of, yes, I do want to prove myself, but also like I'll be able to have 2 years to do that. In terms of if I do get 1 year back, I do kind of want to pick like a better situation type of school because at some point the ball will stop bouncing. Like I do want to play overseas, but just to make sure I get a degree from a really good school and I can land a really good job also. So it definitely just depends if I do get my year back or not, for sure.
It's a complete 180 from people not wanting you to wanting you.
Yeah.
What do you say to everybody? The high school kids. What do you say to them where you're like, okay, it's your first time really experiencing this. A lot of people give up at that moment. What do you say to the Division I players that didn't play a lot, but they feel as though they should have, and all of a sudden they're leaving, and they might feel as though they might never get back to that level, or nobody wants them.
Yeah.
What do you say to the guys in the portal where nobody wants them?
Yeah.
And how you overcame that anxiety with, I guess, hard work? Like, what would you say to them in your experience? What advice can you give?
Definitely my advice would be just stay to the course and stay to the grind. Like, yes, like there is a lot of people in the portal, and it can become devastating, if not exhausting and frustrating at times. But if you, put in the work and do what you're supposed to do in the classroom and outside of the classroom, especially on the court, a coach will find you. And that's a testament to me. Like I stayed down, I grind, I put in like a lot of hard work, and I think now, just God giving back blessings to me. So I definitely just say keep working hard and just stay into the course, and everything will pan out the way it should pan out.